What's up, YouTube? How are we? I'm gonna give it a minute for a few people to get on here. It's a cool way to wrap your slings up. Deadeye slings, your rig and ring slings and stuff like that. So double it over. I do like a fourth. I'm just gonna let a few people get on here before we really get started. Dang, I was off on my size by quite a bit. Should have done like an 8th. But get it to there. And then you can grab the other end and pull on it. It is so twisted up. Dang it. Whatever. It'll go in. So you end up with, you know, I was a little off, but so I told you guys yesterday I was gonna have trouble on this live feed. There was no post. Our normal knucklehead is not posting. Well, knuckleheads were not making posts, which was going to leave us with nothing to really talk about. And lo and behold, hours before the live feed starts, he gets in a frantic uploading phase that he uploads like 6 videos. They were all shorts, so they weren't all that long, but yeah, it was rather entertaining. So we got 4 here. Okay, we'll get going. Yeah, welcome back to Tree Talk. I don't know what episode we are, if I'm being honest. I can't remember what number we were supposed to be on, but it is what it is. We're gonna go with it. What's up, Billy? What's up, Ground Pounder? So I told you no one was uploading. If I didn't have something to talk about and razz people on and poke fun of, and I would find something. I would run to Facebook. And I'm sure that somebody was being an idiot on Facebook and I could discuss. I was right. I was right. I couldn't handle Facebook much. I'm not on Facebook. After I found YouTube and started doing videos, I kind of stopped doing the Facebook thing. I would use it to promote my YouTube channel, but I don't even do that. I haven't done that for years, so sitting here looking at the bugs flying in because I can't shut the door all the way because I have my hose, my air hose in the doorway. That'll be good. Alright. So yeah, I checked Facebook. There's plenty of knuckleheads being knuckleheads. So yeah, we'll get into that. Actually, let's start with that. So, Facebook, just in general, what did I come up with? Okay, it definitely has not changed. The people there have changed. There's not the same crew of people. Some are still the same, but most have seemed like they've probably gave up on Facebook, kind of like I did. So I get on Facebook and I start searching tree pages, and alls it is, I don't know why it's so much right now, but it was like non-stop post of where can I get insurance? What do you pay for insurance? Can you help me get insurance? Like, what do you have to have for insurance? And it was like, this is weird. But I mean, maybe that's normal for Facebook right now. I don't really know. Like I said, I don't do Facebook much, if at all. Actually I don't do it at all. I'd be lying if I say I do it some. Yeah, I don't even look at anything on Facebook anymore. But how you doing, Billy? You think Facebook is crazy? Go on TikTok. No, I can't do TikTok either. Um, I'm not a talker, so yeah, I realized that a long time ago. But oh man, I need a haircut so bad. It's starting to drive me nuts. Yeah, yeah. Look at this. Look at this ridiculous. This is crazy. So yeah, whatever. Let's see who we got. Ciel. What we? I can't translate. I cannot translate. But yeah, I'm looking on Facebook. Everyone's just asking, where can I get insurance? Where do you got insurance? Can you help me get insurance? It's like, at least they're looking to get insurance now. I don't even think people were doing much of that. I think it was mainly just people being cowboys for the most part. That's what it was when I was on Facebook. And then it kind of switched over. But then the next thing I came across is, what would you charge? And they would post a picture of their job. And it's like, you couldn't be serious. Like, it's still the same thing. What's going on, ER? How are you? Oh, it's hello? Oh, okay. Okay, my bad. My bad. Well, hello to you. How are you? Um, yeah, I mean, it's always that backup plan. So I love doing this part of the week and just kind of poking a little bit of fun. Nothing is malicious. I'm just having fun. This is where I get out, instead of leaving mean comments all the time, I feel like I can get it all out during my live feed each week. So that's what we do. We poke a little bit of fun and just have fun in general. The job is so serious that, like, there's got to be some time where you crack up and you have a good time. And I'm pretty serious most of the time. I enjoy this. So where can I get insurance? What would you charge? And then it would be like posts where they'd be like, look at this local guy. And they would post the guy's business page or something. And then be like, I don't see the difference. And the guy would do like before and after pictures. And the bad part was, the guy who made the post making fun of someone was wrong. Like, the guy who did it did a good job. But there's such a competition between tree guys, especially when you're local to each other, that they start to fight for no reason. And yeah, it's just silly. So what up, Ground Pounder? Yeah, you gotta have fun, man. You gotta have fun. And I have to poke some fun at people. Everyone's trying to be too serious sometimes, and I've just been on YouTube so long now that I have to find some kind of fun in this, and this is where I feel like I get it more than anything. So they start posting pictures of local guys to them, trying to poke fun, and I'm like, that's weird. I don't know why you would do that, because you're still promoting this guy. And then it would be half-priced Harry complaints. This local guy around me is only charging this. He's only charging this. Yeah, okay. Doesn't mean a guy is half price, like half price Harry, if he's less than you. You may have a crane, all these extra bills, and you have an overhead that makes it to where you have to make way more on a job than this guy that doesn't have a whole bunch of stuff. So he can make a smaller amount work and become more profitable than you can, maybe even double his price. So I think people don't even think about that. So they're instantly like, this guy's going around cutting my throat. And it's like, no, no, nobody's going around cutting your throat. You're just, I mean, there is some guys that do that, but just if my price was more than the other, so what? Call them. Exactly. Exactly. And sometimes I just have to, that's a one thing that I tell, like, you should call someone else. Sometimes I get a weird vibe when you're talking to somebody, and I'll be like, yeah, I'll recommend other people, because you almost like don't want to deal with the people. Some people just give you that weird vibe. And one thing I've noticed is like, when you're trying to talk to them to get it, you have a different personality. You're really kind, and then you get aggravated when you get it and you're doing it, and they're like lurking over you and being rude. Well, they were that same way to start out with, and you should have like asserted a little bit of like, this is how things work, and if you can't handle this, maybe you should call other people. So I try to do that. I feel like if the people don't respect me and what I do, I don't want to be there. So it is what it is. I'm to the point I don't even care. You shouldn't, man. You shouldn't, because it's unnecessary, unwarranted stress, because you cannot change the fact that that guy is going to do that for that price, even if it blows your mind. Who cares? Sometimes when you're struggling and you're in need, it's rough to deal with. But I've never seen where a guy's like called like a bid or a customer afterwards and was like, "Hey, that guy's he's a crackhead. He's this. He's that." I've never known that to ever work for somebody, but maybe it has. I think a lot of times you can end up giving yourself a bad name by being so concerned with the other guy and stressing on him and trying to make him have a bad name that it actually ends up giving you a bad name. So don't get in over your head. Yeah, and Billy, those guys, that's what'll happen is those guys that are going around doing that will eventually get in over their head trying to take. If that's what they're doing, if they're just trying to take, then eventually they're going to get in that situation that the job should have went to a bigger, more equipped company. And then all of a sudden they're screwed because they just wanted to cut that guy's throat for that time, and now they're having to do something they shouldn't be doing. They're way in over their head. And that'll happen, and that will weed them out eventually. So I'll tell them to their face, if the cheapest person, I'm not your guy. Yeah. Yeah, those are the people. That's why I'm saying that kind of vibe thing, ground pounder, is like, those aren't the people that you want to be, helping and work for. So you're going to see me to screw some other guy around. Yeah, I know, and I hate that kind of stuff. Like, um, the certain people will pit a couple guys against each other too, just to try to make you to hate each other, and they're just trying to make their situation better. They don't care what happens to you two. So I've been the guy struggling and in need, and the bastards used the cheapest quote. Yeah, yeah, and that hurts, man. That hurts. So I get it. Yeah, and you get you almost sometimes when you're in need of it, man, you can almost take it personal. And you're like, why wouldn't they respect me enough to call me and be like, hey, this guy said he would do it for a little cheap, but I've thought that before. Like, well, this guy came by and did it for $50 cheaper. Like, it can be that small of a thing sometimes, and say that like, well, he did it for a little cheaper. Well, don't you have enough respect that you would pick up the phone and call me and be like, hey, this guy's going to do it for $50 cheaper? Would you match that or go a little cheaper? But then I think about it, when you get those kind of people, those are those people that are trying to pit you two against each other. So then they're going to go back to that guy, and when you think you've got it because you dropped $100 off, then she goes back to that guy and she's like, well, the other guy actually want a 50 cheaper, and money is really tight right now. So then he says, well, I'll go another 50. So now you're 150. So then she comes back to you and you got to go to 200. It's just like it's that proverbial snowball down the mountain. It just grows as it goes. So it's definitely not worth it. What's up, Joe? Rusted Beaver? Yeah, what? Stop. God dang it. Is it? Yeah, I shouldn't have been playing with my hair like I told. Dang it. Now he's making me. Joe's got me feeling all like. Uh. Dang it, man. He's got me feeling self conscious here about my hair. I can't help it. I need a haircut. You're right, Joe. It made me feel like shit, brother. I needed them. Yeah, man. And it's hard to get out of that mode when you get into it. But yeah, I get it. I get it. That battle sometimes I've been guilty of being that guy that's irate, and in hindsight, it's always 2020, I'm looking at it after the fact or not during it. So yeah, that is what it is. Yeah, and sometimes you'll just be that cheaper person, man. That's what it happens. It's taken me a while to establish a reputation. When I deal with anyone. Yeah, and building that name, man, is so important. And if you've done it correct, it will take care of you along the way. Um, and I mean, I know you, and so I believe your thing is just let them hear about you. It's just building that clientele. Trust is really hard to get in somebody that you don't know. It always kind of amazes me when someone will randomly pick up the phone and call a person and be like, will you come cut this thing? It's hanging over the top of my house. And they trust you and like they want to stay sleeping in the bedroom while you're doing it. And it's like, wow, some people just have more trust in humans than others. So I don't know if I would be that trusting. So Chris, what's up, man? I checked out the channel and you got me. I subscribed. We'll get into Chris eventually here. So welcome, brother. I dude, I got some stuff to say. Brandon, how are we, man? Dang, 65 points. That's what I'm talking about, dude. Them Google reviews, then you get bumped, and then eventually when they look up tree that are in your area, it's ground pounders at the top. And that's what you want, man. That would sometimes you're gonna have to struggle through those aggravating jerks and just do what it takes to make them happy so that you leave, because those are the people that do this nonstop after you're gone, you know, and you just want to make sure that you took care of them. You don't try to like, I know I wasn't supposed to do this, or this, but doing this, and this is going to make sure that they're happy as I leave and they won't talk bad about me, because some people, that's what they do. And especially with social media now, they can like screw everything up for you just being a jerk. And that's a tough one to deal with. That's a really, really tough one to deal with. That's awesome. That's awesome, ground pounder. Yeah, yeah, we got some. We got some. I don't ask customers to leave me a review, do you? No, I never have either, but that's gonna help you a lot. You know, the reason I think mine always kind of went up is because other people would get bad ones, and they would, little by little, because I didn't get any bad ones, I made it towards the top, and it's like that just shows you how many yahoos come around in my area. But yeah, that's it. That's it. Game, and understanding and using it to its potential, social media is such a good, such a good like advertising source that it's little by little. I think a lot of guys are starting to understand that, and they're really using it to its potential. Only people on top of me pay for the spot. Yep. Yeah, it does help, Chris. It does. Or you're gonna have to wait, kind of like me, and just wait for everybody else to screw up. And sometimes, if you got a couple decent guys around you, that may never happen. So I send them a link through Google saying I would love the feedback. Yeah, do like Ground Pounder, and then at the end, maybe even that evening afterwards, telling them thank you for the work and the opportunity, and maybe even the hospitality, and then ask them if they could, if they don't mind, send them a link. That's a great way of doing it, Ground Pounder. I really like that. Yeah, Chris, but a lot of people nowadays, man, I'm telling you, they're just, even older people are really like, let Google run their world. And I think it could help. It could help you. I mean, it would just, I think what it could do is speed that process up of getting it up there. So, my bad. Oh. All right, I'm gonna catch up on comments, and then we're gonna run through the news as much as I can. You guys can chit chat with each other a little bit. 18K people these parts. Dang, right on. My town has 28. Customers don't feel pressured. Some leave and others don't. Yeah, that's why I like that, Ground Pounder. You're not, doing the puppy dog eyes at them right in front of them. It's just, thank you. I appreciate it. If you don't mind, here's this. I would love your feedback. They have all the chance in the world to be like, that guy did me a solid today. I'm going to help him out. Or, I'm good right now. But you definitely don't want to do that if you're trying to cut corners, because then you're like, you cut a bunch of corners and the people find out afterwards, and then you're like, here's a link to ruin my reputation. So it could backfire. So but yeah, that's just the game. That's the game. It's changing every day with social media. So my town has more people than I can count. What a great method. It works great. The Google ratings matter, trust me. Yeah, it's just a lot of people are just Googling tree service because they don't want to take the time to be like, where's, it's just too quick just to, reach over, grab your cell phone and go, instead of, hey honey, where are our book of business cards? Where's that at? And they're going to scroll through it maybe for hours looking at business cards before they find yours. Some people are just that lazy nowadays, Chris. I hate to say that, but that's the honest to God's truth. They're like, what was that one young man's name that did our trees last time? I liked him. Yeah, he did us a good job, and he even did all that extra work. Yep, yep. Where is his card at? Well, I don't know, honey. It's packed away. Dang. Well, I wish we knew what his number was. Google, put tree services around me, and then if you're not at the top of the list, it doesn't, or he doesn't look at all the things, and he's like, oh, hang on, here it is. So it's a game, man. It's certain things I just don't like even doing too. So I mean, I get the people that don't want to. So people hear about us through friends and relationships, and then they find out I'm the highest rated dude on Google. Yeah, it can't hurt you. Go to the yellow pages. Yeah. They still have phone books? I don't even know. Yeah. Yeah. Or you get that, hey, I know a guy kind of thing. So, what is that? All right. So, like I said, I jumped over to Google for a little bit because I didn't think we were going to end up with anything to talk about on our live feed here because Metal and Wood didn't post anything all week. And literally an hour or two before, he posted like 5 videos. And I was like, see, my prayers were answered. I have a complete knucklehead to talk about now. So I was like, awesome. Some of you that aren't as like ridiculously obsessed with the stupidity as I am may have not seen them. So I won't ruin them, but we just have to hit some topics, some big discussions on it. I have a couple new channels that I'm going to talk about this time, and then we have some of our normals. But let's just get straight into it. I told you the Facebook situation, uh, and okay, I got to say this. Let me make sure here. Still have phone books here too. Okay, yeah, okay, right on. Really, it's online. Well, that would be, yeah. I guess they would still have yellow paint. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking, Ground Pounder. I thought it just kind of went obsolete, kind of like VHSs and home phones. um, the other thing, I am. Why is it so much on Facebook? Um, is it just me, or why do so many climbers? Why are there so many people doing spikeless removals? Did they not learn how to use spikes? Because that would be like doing a prune with no ascenders. You just want to make it so hard on yourself. It doesn't make any sense to me. But there are so many posts doing a spikeless removal today. I'd get maybe doing it once to see if you could do it, just to see. Or maybe you need to buy more comfortable spikes. Or you should learn how to use them because there's no reason to be doing a spikeless removal. Um, that just tells me every time I see spikeless removal, I'm like, oh, this guy's just free cutting everything. But that's not the case. Some guys are rigging trees out and making everything so much harder on them. As they get older, they're definitely going to regret the silly decision of, like, maybe they won't, but like having a wood splitter sitting next to you and it's running. You don't have to do that. It's literally running. Started, it's running, and instead you're like, give me my axe. And it's a dull axe. And you just beat the wood forever while this runs and wastes gas. It makes no sense to me. But maybe it's only me. I want to see what everybody says here. I feel attacked. I do prunes with no ascenders. Oh man. But no, that's not as bad. That's why I had to go into the wood splitter thing. If you don't have an ascender, you just get her done. Like, if you have ways of getting around up in the tree and you can do that, you're still doing your part. You're doing pruning with no spikes. The reason for that is so you don't pass any disease or make unnecessary wounds on the tree as you're moving throughout it. But for comfort, and a lot of these guys that are doing it are like the big guys that are into the PPE and everything's got to be by the book. You can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this. And then they make their job less safe. When you have a contact point at your feet, which is what gaps and spikes are, is a contact point for work positioning and stability while in a tree, and you take it away for what I don't know, and then do the job, you've now made the job, which is one of the most dangerous in the world, more dangerous for what? Like, someone explain this to me. But yeah, Brandon, definitely not throwing any shots at you, brother. That's funny though. I really haven't done shit. Love my geckos. Gecko just came out with a copy of the Elder Challenge. Yeah. You should check them. I run talents and love them. I shall do it, sir. Thank you. Yeah, I'm a big. I've had my. When I bought this saddle, okay, literally right after I bought that saddle, I bought my Buckingham double big buck Velcro pads. And then somewhere after about a year of having them, I found some aluminum pole gaffs at like a pawn shop or something. So I bought them and then I put them on them pads, and I would never climb on anything else. Even though the pole gaff is only about this big, I can walk without it touching the ground. It's off the ground by quite a bit. It's a huge difference. I like my feet being closer to whatever it is I'm gaffing on, and if I run into an issue to where I can't, I'm slipping out and I'm gaffing out, I'll just use the cinders and go up. I have a trick with a hand ascender that I feel like is the quickest, most efficient way to have a spike ascender, and I've not seen anybody go up in a tree and then at some point they're like, "Oh, I need to use an ascender," and they can instantly, unless they've put it on and it's in the way the whole time. I've never seen anybody grab an ascender and hook it up that quick. So maybe they're out there. I just haven't seen. But I never understood removals with no. I don't get it, Brandon. I really don't. Spikeless removals is like voting for removal without gaffs. Dumb, a little bit. Sorry, I don't want to. And if anybody on here is like, oh dang man, he's talking about me. I'm not talking about anybody specific. I just that was something that was going on Facebook when I used to be on it, which was like 4 years ago. And then I come back and it's still the same stupid stuff. I get doing it. I think I've done a removal before when I really got into um, having foot ascenders and learning spikeless prunes. I was like, I wonder if I could do a removal. I've seen guys doing it, even though common sense, which I feel like I have an abundance of, seems dumb. But I wonder if I could do it. I get doing it once. But people aren't just doing it once. They're always doing it. And it just seems dumb to me because just like getting practice on a climbing device or getting practice in a saddle, you need that practice on the gaffs. So that's just my personal opinion. 100%, Chris. I'll never put geckos on again. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that they either love geckos or hate them. I think a lot of guys need to adjust. Here's the biggest problem I feel like guys have with spikes. They don't know what height they need. So you have your calf. There needs to be connection up above that calf where the muscle starts to round kind of back over, and that will prevent the spike from slipping down. The bottom always needs to be super tight. This isn't always that tight on me. Mine's just one Velcro strap. But another thing that I do have is I have the steel shank pad for the ankle bone. So I have a pad that goes down the steel shank of the spike, and then it goes up under your boot. So me personally, I think most spikes could and can be comfortable if adjusted out a certain way. I've put on spikes that I've sworn no, there's not a chance that I could wear those and be comfortable. But yeah, I think a lot of guys don't realize that a spike does that. I don't even think they realize that. And maybe some of the new stuff doesn't, but a spike goes in and out so I don't know. I think a lot of people just forget that some things can be adjusted to fit them better. I want to get some ascenders, but never have because I don't have trouble without them. Right on. Well, I mean, like I said, dude, I would recommend. There's. You're telling me you've never ran into a situation where a tree is so wide, like you go up and it crotches out, that you can't get your arms comfortably around it to climb up it? Or, I mean, I guess if you know how to foot lock, you don't really need that. But I find myself using it where it's so big around that I don't want to attempt to keep a hold of it and climb up. So I'll rope walk up. it's covered in poison ivy or some kind of crazy weird vine, I'll rope walk up. Um, there's just multiple reasons where it's like, okay, I need to go to this area and I don't want to have to spike all the way up here to get there, so I'll just set a rope over here, rope walk straight to where I need to be, rig these few branches, be done. Um, I think you can make with a hand ascender, which a hand ascender is probably one of the most effective tools that I have, and I find myself using these so much. So what I'll do a lot of times is I'll take this hand ascender and on my rope where I'm using my tree jack, sometimes if you're not using a 3-strand rope on a maze dam or something, you can get some slippage on it. So what we do is we take the hand ascender and on the exiting rope, we hook it on. You can use the hand ascender to tighten it up real tight and then take it, slide it up to where it bumps against the tree jack. And now you have a brake, an emergency brake. It can't slip at any point because sometimes if you're using like this 12-strand rope here, it will slack into the rope, will make it start to slip sometimes. Maze dams are designed for 3-strand rope, and I don't use 3-strand, but and then you could take this thing, man, use it climbing with multiple ways, and then with the addition of this little bungee, you can turn this into a spike ascender. That is probably the quickest spike ascender that there is. So with just attaching this little bungee in that hole, now I can hook this on my gaff, like hook it up on the gaff, and then take these little hooks and I strap them up over the top of my pad. And then I have a spike ascender to go up. Then when I'm done with it, I pop these off. I mean, you can see where my spike sits in there. It rubs all the time. It used to have plastic that came down here, but I took it off. You can see a little bit of grinding where I've done that. But yeah, this is probably one of my favorite tools. I keep an extra one because of the rope jack. And I mean, you could do all that with just a single one. This could be the same, your foot ascender, your hand ascender, your spike ascender, and then it could be your brake for your maze dam too. So you don't need to have multiple, but I do. I think I ended up buying someone else's climbing gear. Is the only reason I have multiple ones, though. I want to get some ascenders, but without them, and they have a bolt-on spike ascender. That's dope. Right on. I don't really like echoes either. What's up? What's up, William? How are you, brother? Turtle man. I'm gonna try to skip maybe ahead as much as I can real quick. I love the Nielsen. Me too, Chris. I mean, I have the Haas Classic, and having that and being able to rope walk so quick is amazing because the Haas knee ascender, well, I made a knee ascender out of a foot ascender, so like you can make any of it. I have videos on the page of us just making these tools. So who does so? James, what's up, man? Dano goes up on ascenders and then spurs up in the tree. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just so much quicker. Like gaffing, I'm sorry, but I have bad knees, and spiking my way up a tree just like wears my legs out, and it's like it's unnecessary. There's that slip out, then you're flipping your thing the whole time and tendon slack. It's not worth it to me. I slap 2 ascenders on. I put the Haas onto my foot. It comes up to right here, and I clip it onto a carabiner that's right here, and it's extended out. And then when I lift my leg, it compresses. So I test that. Then I put the spike ascender on the other one, and then I take my lanyard, throw it over my shoulder, and clip in. And it's that quick, that easy. So I install mine at the base of the tree and will not wear them far when I get down. Walking with mine on at all. Yeah, not fun. Chicanos do all the climbing around here now. Is that right? We have a few around here. They get her done. I feel like they just make them more. They're born braver than most of us. Um, don't foot lock either. Dang. So you're just full of the piss and vinegar, brother. You can still. I get it. I get it. I've spiked up thousands of trees, and it's like I'm. And every now and then I will just spike up, but not normally. I want to work everything up and be comfortable on my way up. So I'm like setting my time point from the ground and rope walking up to make it easier on me. And I'm able to clear things. I don't have to go up and check a time point or, so. AAA Tree Service. What's up? I'll make a video showing how I get into a tree without spikes. Yeah, do it. I mean, I get walking and hip thrusting. Like, I could understand that. You don't have to have, like, I have the Haas, or I have the Gree set up. It's a hand ascender and a foot loop. And that's how you get all the way up into the tree. You sit, stand, sit, stand, sit, stand. And it's a one leg setup with a 3-to-1. So, I mean, there's tons of different ways to do it. And you don't have to have a bunch of ascenders, but there's, that way. And then you better not post a, Brandon, you better not post a video of you just taking this big ladder and setting it up. And then you're like, this is it. I'm just kidding. Do it, though. I do want to see. Brand new to the channel. Do you have videos on that spike ascender? Yes, sir. Yes, yes. Yes, I do. Here, I'll show you what it is real quick. So, it's a regular hand ascender. And this is a flat bungee. I tied a midline knot. I think it was like maybe an alpine butterfly or a circus knot. And then I showed how to put a throw ball on. So I tied that loop. I poked the loop through the hole and then girth hitched that on. And then I like this flat one because a round one sticks out more. But when you get this one up against your foot, and then these go on really nice, and they're not turning because they're flat. So you just need to find. You may have to adjust this a little bit and get it to the right height so that it sets onto your spikes correctly. You don't need a massive attachment down here because if you think about it, you're standing on this point. It's like a gaff. So your gaff goes into that. You got to stand. The thing that you want to happen is when you lift your leg, this gets lifted too. So you need this to hook up underneath the gaff and then stretch a little bit and hook onto your pads. So it's a simple setup, but yeah, there's videos on the channel somewhere. These tools are so expensive. Hang on. These tools are so expensive. It's easier to make your own. Yeah, AAA. I agree 100%. I made I have my knee ascender. I ended up making a knee ascender out of a Petzl foot ascender, which is a very, very kind of strange setup. Like definitely not the most elaborate, but what I do is I use. You know what's messed up, guys? I may end up getting rid of this or giving it to somebody eventually. But I have this Ford SRT chest ascender for climbing. It is so nice. It's got so many adjustable spots on it to put a carabiner, so it sets around and hooks up. The problem is when I fell and I broke my ribs and my ribs are poking out right here. That is right where this metal ring goes, and oh, it hurts so bad, so I can't wear this thing anymore. It's a bummer. But yeah, I took this thing, AAA. I took this, and where's it at? Because I still have it here. Here's my Haas Classic. So this thing was somehow wedged in the back of my bag in the far back where I put my handsaw, and for years I thought it was lost. So I instantly, it didn't take me long to be like, well, I need a knee ascender. So what I did is I made one. This is it's a Petzl Panton, which is like the cheapest foot ascender that Petzl, and one of the oldest too, that they make. So the way this works is the foot ascender would go on like this. I disconnected all the foot straps and stuff off of it. I took a bungee and connected it to it and used some zip ties to zip that together. I put a clip on the end of it. So pretty good action on it. But the problem is I need something that has an adjustableness so that I can get the stride to be exactly what I want. So if everything's fixed, you can't adjust and get that perfect full amount of your stride. So what I used is a foot loop. I used this on my Gree setup with the 3-to-1 on the hand ascender. So the way this sets up, if I remember correct, I think it's adjusted all the way out. Then I took this little piece of a ratchet strap that I had to cut off, and I sewed it all up myself because this is not life support. So I'm comfortable messing with this and manipulating this and doing stuff. So I put this little link on. Now, what I would do is hook this up. I would put it on the link, lock the link off. So now I have myself a knee ascender out of tools that I have. I didn't have to spend a penny, and it works really good, actually. I mean, I used this for quite a while before I realized, holy smokes, I still have my Haas. And then when I realized that, I didn't use this again. But it turned out to be a really good knee ascender. So the way I know a knee ascender, it works for me is a lot of times what I want is it on my foot, and then I want it all the way stretched out. That way when I lift my leg, this comes up enough that I'm getting full stride. So I would adjust it out and figure it out. I'm like, okay, I would clip up here on my lanyard, and then it goes, I get full stride every time. So there's my stride. So it's like a foot or so, maybe a little over. But yeah, that's just a simple setup, a little backup setup that I have in case for some reason I get in that bag one day and the Haas is no longer there again. Only tree you should spike is a pine. That's straight up. Only tree you should spike is a pine. That's straight up, and use it like a ladder. Yeah, I still wouldn't. I don't want to be touching a pine tree very much. So when I'm doing a pine tree, I'm definitely using spikes. I'm probably rope walking up because I don't want to be all in the sap. I'm using a stationary climbing setup because I don't want my rope moving and taking the bark off and then it's sappy. When it's time to rig, I'm also going to use speedline straps and clip them, or speedline straps or some kind of ring, so that my rigging rope is not touching the brand. And then as long as you're using false everything, you don't end up with a bunch of sticky, sappy gear. No ladder, Brandon? Okay, right on. You better not troll me now. Yeah, do it. Actually do it. It'd be funny. Try using homemade equipment around the young anti mafia. Try any of that stuff at a climbing competition. Disqualification. Yeah, that's why, they want you to buy everything and it's all got to be a certain way. But I want all that knowledge. I don't want to have to be like, I need to buy this. I want to understand why a tool works a lot of times. And so, and I'm poor. I'm not rich. Like, so when it's time and I need something, I need to make it. I don't have the money to just be, I don't make nothing from YouTube. I used to a long time ago. I don't know what happened, but I don't make anything from YouTube now. I think I get like $40 a month, and I spend way more than that in SD cards and stuff. So great description, thanks. You got a loyal follower. Oh, right on, man. Well, I appreciate that, SM. I really do. High quality nickels. You guys are getting me all riled up. I'm trying to spike a center. That's good. Cool. Love the pine takedown. This is the sub shop. Love the Christmas. Oh yeah, yeah. That sometimes I do really enjoy the smell. So, Baby Yoda, how many SD cards do? Oh, I have. It's insane. I have a pile of them. I have stuff from years ago, years and years ago that you guys have yet to see. It's just I'm so far behind. I do way more than I have the creative juices to make a video. So it's like there's plenty of it there. If I ever get on a splurge where I'm just kicking out videos, yeah, I'll keep them coming for a long time. But yeah, I have quite a few. STD cards? Yeah, I have like two of those. I have a bunch of SD cards though. So STDs, I got like what is it, three, two or three. I can't remember. I think one healed up, but it could flare back up. So I don't know. All right. So I watched August Haneke, very big YouTube channel. He put out a video called "Big White Oak Threatens." ... He put out another video called "Wish I'd Splurged on Equipment Sooner in Life." And then the third video for the week was "Tree Work from the Dark Web." Um, and all of them good videos. He just doesn't seem all that happy anymore. I don't know what happened, but maybe it's just life. But he has his, I believe, niece working for him, and I think he's so used to getting a worker that's so good right from the get go, and like they know so much and they know what they're getting into. Doesn't seem to have like the patience to train his niece, and he comes off like your uncle, like your kind of rudish uncle. And I feel bad for the girl because I look at it like if it was my daughter going to work for a guy, and like she it's a different world. Most guys would get in to watching tree work and all that stuff and then maybe start to work for August, when she's a young girl who came into it, knew nothing, and she's doing her best. The fact that she's still there, she deserves credit. And I feel like he's just a little rough on her sometimes, and it kind of just irks me sometimes when I see it. It just, I don't know. TMI? Oh no! Your innovation and honest sharing about personalized gear really motivates me to try it all. Anything that pushes back against father time is worth it to me. Yeah, and I've come to terms with that. I need all that help I can get. I'm getting old. So, August should be happy he's got a new baby. Yeah, yeah, but you can also, I bet there's a lot of stress that comes with that. Long nights and stuff. And maybe it's just, maybe I just reading into it. Maybe it's not, it just seems like, I don't know. I feel like he's just a little rough on her. I feel like the girl's doing her best. And if you thought that this teenage girl that knew nothing was going to jump in and become like a top notch, amazing tree guy, well, tree guy, I can't believe I just said that, but tree person, that's silly. I feel like that girl, the fact that she's still there tells you that she's got a work ethic that you need to figure out a way to maximize that and make some of this joyful. They're a top-notch crew, like very top-notch, and she's not. You brought her in, and she's not on y'all's level, so you just have to respect that and build her up. And I feel like that's going to be a tough thing to do. But I don't see the stuff that happens off camera. He may do so much extra off camera, but when he's on camera, he's like being like, she's not really getting it. Don't know if she's going to last. It just seems to be everything about her is negative. And first of all, that's your niece. And I feel like you should be a bit nicer as far as that goes, especially when you're putting it on the internet. But that's just me. My opinion doesn't mean anything. And yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to ruffle too many feathers, but that's just my opinion. You say 60 next week? SMC? Oh, right on, brother. That's awesome. You're still getting her done, man. Billy says I'm still the oldest. Right on. I'm 51 in a few months. Dang, Chris. Damn, you get her done too. Um, so we skip off August. Here's a new channel. I watched Game of Trees. I subscribed to him a long time ago, and then I unsubscribed, and then I subscribed, and then I unsubscribed, and then like I had a lot of questions that I would leave comments, and the best I would ever get is he would like my comment. And like I was legitimately asking because I didn't understand certain things. That was like the first time that I felt like I was just like, I'm unsubscribing. He doesn't care. So it's like I unsubscribed. And then the second time, like he comes off very, very, very cocky and like a kind of a Mr. Know-it-all. And maybe that's just I probably come off like that sometimes too, so I shouldn't like poke at anybody as far as that goes, but maybe he's just not my type of guy. So I tried. I'm trying again. I'm gonna give it one more shot. We're gonna see if I can stay subscribed for a little bit. But Game of Trees put out a video, and I got tons to poke at. So um, there were times in the past where he would like do some dodgy things. Instead of pointing them out and being like, this was wrong, he would be like, that was perfect. Or you could tell he would edit things out sometimes to make himself look like this awesome king of kings. Then, like, I feel like one of the things that made him popular is he was very, like, rudish to, he just comes off rude sometimes. Maybe, maybe it's just the people he's dealing with and you have to be rude because God knows I've had to do that myself. But yeah, I don't know. Women on the tree crew are truly an asset. More heart and passion than many guys. They serve to keep the testosterone at a professional and tolerable level too. Hey, I've been on a crew where there was a female, and she was a hard worker, and but then she was also the one that took off flying in the box truck and then drove it into a car wash trying to race the other workers. And the car wash wasn't as big as the box truck, so she just like wedged it to rip the top off. But no excuse. The one hand is all. He's the no excuse. Yeah, yeah. See, and I'm not a fan of those type of guys. Like he contradicts himself all the time. Everything needs to be by the book, and then when he feels the need to bend a rule or do something a different way than the textbook shows, then it's okay. That's the part I don't dig. I'm gonna try to keep doing this, and we'll see how long I can stay subscribed. But he bugged me. He just really bugged me eventually, and I had to unsubscribe a while back. But my wife and daughter have been since 2000. That's awesome, Chris. Yeah, that's awesome. I seen that you had your wife working, and that's really cool. I didn't get to catch any videos with your daughter yet, but that's awesome, man. So They do a job called climbing an uprooted tree. Here's my main problem with him and his channel. His videos are often overly complicated for no reason other than to make himself feel intelligent and come off as smarter than the next guy. There's no need for you to be giving me the Latin name for any tree. I don't want to hear it. If I did, I would take the damn arborist test. So, Prosperous, Mosmus, arbivitis, I don't care. It's like a hackberry. Like, stop that. That's kind of stupid. That's the thing that kind of aggravates me with him. So he makes a video. It's called climbing an uprooted tree. First of all, my initial thoughts was that's not an uprooted tree. It's just the root plate shifted a little bit. I don't feel like it's uprooted at all. It did have a shift because there was a excessive storm, maybe crazy winds, but I didn't. His son, I think, was the one doing this job. It wasn't him. So the son shows up. He's like, "We got this uprooted tree. It's laying in these other trees," and I instantly was like, "It's not uprooted, and it's not laying in them trees. It's touching them, but I don't believe that it's laying it." And then I was like, "Whoa, dude, you're being those armchair arborists who's like, you can cut that from here, from the ground. There was space to do this and do this and that." So I'm like, hold up. I'm going to watch the whole video before I say anything. So we get into... I like that, Ground Pounder. This channel is Ukeman Ground Zero. Love it. Well, thank you. So that's my initial thoughts on it is I call BS. And then I'm like, dude, you're being those guys that you get aggravated at. You can't do that right from the beginning. So I wait through what felt like an hour-long video to find out I was right. I was right. It wasn't in those trees. It hadn't uprooted. It had a bit of a lean to it where the root plate had shifted up a little bit, but I was 100% correct. It's not an uprooted tree. So I'm like, yeah, we're having fun. Yeah, yeah, we are definitely having fun, and it's at his expense this time. So I feel like he's the type of guy that couldn't take a joke too, or couldn't handle criticism. He would really get bugged by it, and then he would try to outsmart you. And like, I don't care if you're smarter than me. Like, yeah, I don't care. So, or I don't even say you're not smarter than me. You know more useless facts about trees than I do. So that's just my opinion on that. I'm not saying that anyone should share my opinion. And what's up, Yank? How are you, brother? So I watched the movie or the video. It felt like a movie. It felt like it was 2 hours. So during it, his son comes off very much like dad. Like, I'm almost too good to respect the guys in my field. Like, I'm on another level. I'm better than. I'm smarter than. And the son comes across like literally exactly like dad. So I'm like, whoa. Well, I've not really watched much from his son. I've watched some stuff, but like I remember he kind of irked me a little bit like that. And I'm like, well, maybe he won't be like that. Another day in paradise. Well, right on, Nick. But he quickly got to where he aggravated me. He seems like he could be he's a good climber. He seems like he could be very good, but it's this I know everything. I'm gonna overly complicate some things, just like dad. I'm gonna make my system overly complicated so that I could appease some silly rule in a book. And then when it comes to the basics and the essentials, you completely goof up. Something as simple as tip tying, he could not understand. Like, he could not get it. Literally, almost every branch come off balanced, and it's not hard to find a tip tie point. and he needed them all to be vertical and go back down. They need to be orientated to where they were upright because it was a tight hole that it was going down in. So every time, I also feel like the GRCS often will make some of these guys look like they're better climbers than they actually are. So what would happen is the GRCS would pull the branch over every single time. He would go to relieve it, and then it would end up completely horizontal, balanced. And I'm like, oh, dang, you're gonna have to fight that all the way down. I was trying to stay to myself. I don't get along with many folks. Me either, Chris. I feel like I'm that same way. I'm such a loner, like off to myself. But that's why I love our little group of people, because I feel like almost everyone that I talk with in here, I would legit get along with in person. It don't take long for me to be aggravated with a person and be like, I'm done. So that happens with me on YouTube a lot. He kept doing this weird. His son kept doing this weird technique where he would use two speedline straps. Um, I do like the way they set their rigging up. It, I feel like it's something that I've done for a long time because I use rigging rings. I'll often tie a loop in the end of my rope, and then I'll attach with a speedline strap and then clip to the loop. The reason for that is I don't end up side loading a carabiner or getting in a bind, and it just is much quicker and cleaner for me to set up. Plus, the knot that I tie in the end of the rope with the loop, I can run it through all the rigging rings, and then that works as a stopper. Having a carabiner attached to the end all the time, then you can't run an extra ring and this and that. So they used that setup, but he would often do like a spider leg setup with two straps, and it would set it into a V, which instead of it all the weight, when you got this V set up like this, when it came off, it balanced it because you're holding from 2 points out like this instead of 1 point would have allowed all the weight to droop up under it, and it would have worked. But maybe that's some silly thing that Dad taught him, and he just feels the need he's got to do that. I wouldn't poke so much fun at him if he didn't say, I don't watch tree work. I do tree work. I don't watch anything. And it's like, oh, okay. Okay. Well, right on. I mean, I will learn something all the time. Um, and it's often by watching someone else. So I don't know. It come off as that I'm too good already. I know too much. I don't need to learn anymore. I don't need to research what's going on. My way's the best. And it's like, and then you come off with every cut being wrong. So that's my opinion on that one. I may be 100% wrong, but that's just my opinion on it. What else? Son says he doesn't watch tree work, but then performs multiple silly mistakes. He needs a lot of tip-tie practice, apparently, is what I said. And then cheesy, cringe, overly dramatic. The tree was not uprooted. Those are my notes. So there you go. That was a Game of Trees. Go subscribe to their YouTube channel. My bad. So next was guilty of treason. I calling him a clown. He didn't care for that. Yeah. He just seems like he thinks too fond of himself to ever accept something like that to be said to him. So yeah. I just feel like he doesn't he finds that he's on a pedestal above most humans. So that's just the vibe he gives me. Guilty put out a video called 2 for 1 Special, 130-foot Doug fir removal next to the house. This was like the first time I didn't really like enjoy the whole video. And the reason for that is because I've seen this video already. He worked with Veterans Tree Service, so Veteran put his video out already. So I've seen this already, and for the first time, Guilty didn't really get my views. Like, he didn't keep my attention. And 99% of the time, I love the videos. He's got my attention all the way. I don't agree with some of the stuff he says sometimes, but like, I find him very entertaining, and I think he makes great content. Like he said, I seen him one time hanging off the side of a tree with no main tie-in point. He had his rope coiled up on his side, and he was using just his buck strap. And he looks at the camera and says, "Oh, I feel much safer and efficient like this." That was one of the stupidest things I've ever seen a climber say, because like you feel safer on a straight pole with just your buck strap than you would with it tied in above you and your buck strap. That's just common sense tells me maybe you just spoke wrong, and that's not what you meant. So that was guilty. That's guilty of treason. Everybody who possibly would watch my stuff has already subscribed or watching his. One of my favorite climbers on YouTube is Chris agrees. One of my favorite climbers on YouTube is Tree Climber Harry from maybe Australia or New Zealand. I don't know which one. I just know that's where he's got to be from. That's what he sounds like. That's what the terrain looks like. Harry put out a snap tree climbing, and he's such a good tree climber. He's so incredibly athletic, and that serves him so well as a tree climber. And he just seems like a very smart individual. He's got a lot of common sense, and then tries to, I don't see him ever trying to overcomplicate something to make himself look cool. And I see that notorious in tree work. But I was accused of that my entire come up on YouTube. Every tree that I ever rigged out, I was told I could have free cut that. You didn't need to rig that. So, I mean, just because you're accused of it doesn't mean you're one of them guys doing it. But, yeah, I like how Harry is he's just effective. He's so good. And it doesn't matter. Some of the situations, some of the trees he's doing are like 200 foot. They're like broken over the top of a house. The log's got to be weighing so much, and the girth and like size, like simply the size of some of these trees he does is unreal. So yeah, huge is the right word for it. Huge. So check out Tree Climber Harry. Next was Meta Spencer. Meta Spencer is one of my guys. I've always liked Meta Spencer. He's incredibly smart, and I think not only is he common sense smart, he is very book smart. Spencer put out a video called Pushing Ash Trees. In the video, he ended up buying a new enclosed trailer, and I think, dude, that's such a good buy. Congrats on the trailer, Spencer. And then, what did I put? Oh, yeah, he is legit the most efficient one-man operation I've ever seen. So, if you're a guy who does one-man operation and you need to understand a way to make yourself more efficient, go watch Meta Spencer. Subscribe to his channel. He's always showing you that some of the gnarliest stuff can be done solo. So he's not a how-to. He's just more of a how he does. Anybody who's subscribed to him knows what I mean there. So. You watched that video, Billy? Yeah. Yeah, how tall, Yank? Because these are mountain ash that they're doing that Tree Climber Harry's doing. They're some of the biggest trees I've ever seen. I think they are some of the biggest trees on earth. Like, they push like most of them are at that like 150, 200 foot mark. And that's like normal, which is crazy. But I would imagine there's some old growth trees that would beat them. But yeah, go check out Meta Spencer. Veterans Tree Service put out some videos too. And Yeah, they're like dinosaur trees, Growl Powder's right. Yeah, if you check out Harry, that's all he does is those gnarly, like eucalyptus, mountain ash, crazy tall trees. They're so gnarly and they make the craziest, like creaking, hinging noises when he cuts them. Like, some of his cuts are so enjoyable to watch. Like, the ASMR of it is wild. But, Veterans Tree Service, like I was saying, they also put out a video. What did he put out? Saving this tree from destruction, cabling it together. Um. Oh, okay. So in this video, he cables a tree and then he climbs a tree with spikes on. He uses it as a cinder. He doesn't spike the tree, but he's taken out such a large section of the tree that he does wear spikes on that section. I never seen anybody really do that before, and I hate to be that guy, but I feel like I was doing that and I was posting it all over and being like, okay, you can rope walk, but if I'm taking a large section of tree out, I want that connection point as I'm doing. And I won't spike the rest of the tree, but that area, if I'm taking a huge lead out, I want the ability to use my spikes while I'm doing that. That doesn't mean I'm going to spike the whole tree. So, well, be careful, Yang. Be careful, brother. Keep into the branch color. Right on. So he does prune. Are you talking about veterans, Brandon? A good climber thinks of many mishaps before going up. Just hitting the real quick. Just got in. Yeah, yeah. I think some of the best climbers are those guys that are always playing out the bad scenarios in their head, and those situations don't really get a rise out of them because they've already thought about what's the worst case scenario. What would I do if this happens? So they're prepared for it. Problem is, when you do that for so long, you start to do that same thing in your everyday life, and that's what I do. And I had to like stop doing that so much. But yeah, yes, yeah, I agree, Brandon. I think you're right. I think he doesn't understand proper cuts. He he would make his cuts way too flush on the tree as he went up, which is a mistake on his part. I'm sure he would argue that he's right, even though he doesn't have all that much experience. I'm pretty sure he'd be like, well, there's nothing wrong with it. And he was close. Like, I don't feel like he was ridiculously going. He was just a little too far on some of them. And I agree 100%. But, yep. Yeah, I think being prepared and having the advantage of the spikes in some of those situations is a must. Like, if I'm just taking little branches, I'm not wearing spikes because at some point you could accidentally just because you're having to go too far. But especially on like horizontal limbs that go out, a lot of times I want to be on the side of them as I'm working them up. But yeah, veterans did that. He put out the video. He cabled it together. So he took that large section out, and for some reason he felt the need to be like, I'm not spiking the tree. I'm not spiking the tree. I'm not spiking the tree. And okay, so you don't do it. You don't need to tell me every 2 seconds that you're not spiking it. So I trust you. Don't spike the tree. So, oh yeah, balls, spike. What goes? Walk does yeah. He comes off too cocky to me. Think he's being sketchy is cool. Yeah, okay. I do want to discuss in his comment section um a very good discussion happened. And he okay, in one comment, I've checked his comment section. One reply, he says, "I love doing YouTube because one guy told him how amazing he was. You're amazing. You're so good, and this and that." So he says, "Yeah, I think I've gotten so good basically because I make these videos and I get to learn from my mistakes and I get such good information from my comments section that I learn things. Well, a comment right above that, he argued. So, Ground Pounder, I have to go. See you, brother. I appreciate you hanging out. Thanks for being here. Have a good night. So, in his comment section, someone told him, hey, I would recommend putting an alpine butterfly above your base tie in case an emergency was to happen and someone could let you down. So, that I don't totally understand, um, because if you're weighted into a base tie, it's going to be too hard to get it pulled down. You'd have to have multiple people to pull that down to get some slack into the system to disconnect it. The alpine butterfly is there so you can attach another rope to it and lower him down if an accident was to happen. His response was, I cut my finger one time. I told him to send me a band-aid and I kept working. Yeah, okay, cool. But what if something really, really, really bad happens? He just ignored it and was like, that won't happen, basically. And you can't turn around and go into the next comment and be like, I learned so much from you guys and this helps. When this guy was trying to give you good info. Now, you could make your base tie rescue ready. It's very, very simple to do. So he has a gree. He could easily, what you do is attach that gree at the base, and have it be your lowering device. Or, you know, having that alpine butterfly is one simple little step that could save your life. So they slap an alpine butterfly right above it. That way somebody could take another climb line, attach it to it, take some wraps around a tree or a quarter wrap. The problem with that setup is trying to get some slack back into the system. If the climber is weighted into the system, it's going to be incredibly hard, but it could be done. Even if you had to cut it, actually. You could, yeah, actually, I think that's what you should do. If you got stuck in that situation, you should get another rope, get some wraps around the tree, clip it on, and then just cut the base anchor so that you can lower the guy down so he doesn't bleed out up there. So I think old Tim could. It wouldn't hurt for him to take one more step, as much as it's just silly to me. He's the type of guy that's like, advancements are cool when he decides they're cool. Like the Raptor, awesome because he thinks it's awesome. Like, or Guilty of Treason told him it's awesome. Or August Honeyke told him it's awesome. There are certain people I feel like if they told him to eat a turd, he would do it. So, but maybe that's because of like, you idolize these guys and like, you just want to emulate what they do. And that's what I see from him. I feel like he'll hit his stride to where he starts to become his own tree guy. But right now, he's like a version. If August and Jake of Guilty of Treason had a baby, that's what they would. He's gonna watch this. He's gonna be so aggravated, dude. I don't mean anything personal on this. Like, it's all in fun, but I think the guy, and actually it was BR. That's the reason I read the comment. BR, I like BR a lot. He's very smart, good tree guy. And everybody starts laughing at it. Dang it! I'll send up some spikes after right on. So yeah, it is what it is. He doesn't have to take advice, and taking advice from everyone on YouTube, you can't do that. So maybe I'm way too hard on him here. But he's good. He's very good. I'm not saying anything about his skills. I think he's very skilled. I think he does come off cocky. Comes off very, very cocky, but I did too. I ruffled a lot of people's feathers, and a lot of people didn't like me when I first started. My confidence showed too much, and some guys don't like a confident person. So, Oh, baby, I guess anything's possible these days. Yeah, yeah, it is. Oh, damn. Brandon, I did say he would eat a turd, too. I didn't mean that, Tim. Damn it. I like Tim. I just... Dang it. Damn it, man. Sometimes my mouth just gets me in trouble. It is what it is. I'm sorry, Tim. Forgive me. Um, this is so crazy. This is what I do every single time. I end up like talking trash on somebody, and I don't mean anything. Like I'm just having some fun. Damn it. So Metal and Wood put out an actual video. It was only like a minute and 20 seconds, but it was a 372 Big Bore Max. He doesn't know how to spell bore. Um, he spelled it BOR. So 372 Big Bore Max Air and Carb Enhancement 76.55 cc power. In Jawa says too lean. So he tells you, I got this 372 Big Bore Max. But he has a mega little plaque that says pro on it. And he's like, it's a pro saw. And then he goes to cut a piece of wood and it stalls out in the wood. A 372 should blow through this rotted old piece of oak he's got there. Like, yeah, it becomes a little solid in there, but it was punky all the way around. And like, so maybe the center was a little hard, but the tree was not like a good solid oak log. He tried to show a cookie because he was instantly, someone was like, BS, that's rotten. So he grabbed one of the cookies he cut, and when he picked it up, it broke. And so he was so weak and bad that he couldn't like, he didn't even have a whole cookie to show you. He had to show you two pieces. And he's like, oh, this is good. That shows you he doesn't know trees because like he shows it, the bark layer and the thick cambium layer is punky all the way around, and there's a little bit of solid wood in the center. That's it. So then he proceeds to be like, this is solid wood, ain't it? Ain't it, Ijawa? And he like, that's when you're his flunky. So then now you say, yes, sir. Yeah. And he's like, and my saws are good, aren't they? And you say yes now. Yeah. And I'm not paying you to say this, am I? No. But I am giving you a whole lot of free chainsaws, right? Maybe. And we rehearse everything before we get on camera, right? Maybe. So I wish in Jawa would stop letting him treat him like a dork. Like he treats you like a dork, man. Don't let him treat you that way. He's an idiot when it comes to chainsaws, and then he uses your knowledge to come off like he knows something. And if that's what you want to do with your time, you're a grown man, you do whatever you want. But I know that he doesn't deep down like Metal and Wood Guy. He doesn't. I can see by when Ding Dong is talking, in Jawa like tunes him out most of the time. He's just like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then he's that type of guy to like pick it in Jawa and be like, you put some Neosporin on that cut on your leg. Dude, we're talking about chainsaws right now. Don't worry about a cut on my leg. Stop looking at my legs. And so, yeah, I just didn't. And then he's like, oh my God, I could talk for days about this guy. He's so silly. He's like obsessed with momentary switches. So, he is so like gone and knows nothing about chainsaw. This is far too complicated for him. This is off. Pull the gas trigger down. Full choke. Half choke. Idle. Off. So, 4 settings. That is far too complicated for him. And when he first started making videos on chainsaws, he made himself look like a complete fool for like months because he didn't understand of those settings there. So he's obsessed with momentary switch. It's got a momentary switch on it. It's got a piped out muffler. Dude, knock it off. You don't even know what you're talking. Why are you? why does the switch matter? Like, he is the type of guy that's like, it's got good caps on it. It's got a really shiny plate that says Pro on it. It's got a handle that's like, it feels good in my hand. Like when I put my finger on it like this, I can finger it real good. He's just weird. He's really weird. He focuses on the stupidest stuff. Not that the chainsaw runs good. Not that it has all the power that it should have. Not that it's a good piece of equipment that will last you a long time and serve its purpose. He's like, it's beautiful. Look at the fit. Talk to you here. Fit is what your jeans should do. They should fit to you. I don't talk about chainsaws like that. I don't like it. I don't like it. And you know what else? I'm gonna tell you right now. Stop wearing that steel hard hat. I don't want to see you wear that hard hat no more because I get embarrassed every time you wear it. So go get a Noker hard hat or something. I don't know, or right Noker over steel. I don't want to see it no more. I'm done. Like, that's it. If I gotta look at your hog jaws wearing a damn steel hard hat again, I'm gonna lose it. And I'm trying to keep it together here as best as possible. But where's my paper? God dang it, he got me all messed up again. This guy does. Oh. I know I had some other stuff about him. Oh my god. So I'm like bored and I'm like, if I scroll through his shorts, eventually he'll upload and I'm trying not to look at you guys' comments so I can just stay going. But I don't want to break character right now. um so I'm watching his shorts and I'm like, I'm watching his shorts. It makes it sound like something weird like he'd do. I'm watching his videos that are shorts, and he's like, "Oh, this is trash parts. These parts are trash." And he was talking about he was getting them from some Dutch something, Dutch, Davy Dutch or Dutch Dorak. I don't even know, some Dutch thing. And he says he bought these clutches from this Dutch something. And usually he's got good parts, but these are faulty. Then this idiot. 2 videos before that, and Jawa is beating the piss out of this clutch with a damn screwdriver and a hammer. I mean, he's beating the piss out of it. And he broke it. And then he's like, didn't even start this thing and it broke. This is faulty. No. Your master chainsaw mechanic skills, because the metal and wood guy says that Injawa is a master. He is a master chainsaw mechanic, which is absolutely not true. He has never said, "Hey Injawa, are you a master chainsaw mechanic?" Because I think that guy has a little bit of self-respect and he wouldn't say that. Like, deep down, Injawa has a little bit of man in him. It's just I needed to come out and for him to be like, "Yo, dork, don't talk to me like this, or I'll smack your chops and stop fixing your chainsaws." But he won't do it. But he should. That would be awesome. Yeah, that's it. It is what it is. So, yeah. So he broke that dude's clutch, and then minutes later makes a short dogging on this company, being like, "They got trash parts, don't they?" Yeah, that's not right. That's faulty. Well, I hope that guy, when you try to get your money back or whatever it is, you'll do something skeezy, because that's what you do. Um, he doesn't see the video you posted 20 minutes beforehand where you're beating the piss out of it with a flathead screwdriver and a damn ball peen hammer. So it's like, I don't know. And then he's so obsessed with changing air filters. Okay, I've used chainsaws my entire life. I'm 40 years old. I've maybe changed an air filter a couple times in my life, and I don't blow chainsaws up. I have very good luck with chainsaws. I just use them the way you're supposed to. I clean them. I do the simple maintenance. I don't leave them all like clogged up. But I think, Metal and Wood may know more than me. He has been doing chainsaws for like 3 weeks now. So and he's watched some YouTube video, and he has in Jawa, the master chainsaw guy. So he may be right. You should change your air filter once a week. Shit, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. Cops are gonna call for laughing too loud. Yeah. Um, what time is it? Oh shoot! Dang, we've been going for a while. I gotta finish this up. Okay. Um, my guy Greg Brown put out a video. There's filters on set swamps. No, Chris, I do. That's one thing that I think you should always do with Husqvarna. You don't have to do near as much. My Steel 150 gets barely any sawdust on the filter. I don't know if they fixed the air intake system to where it doesn't clog up as bad, but a lot of steel chainsaws, the air filters will clog up big time. So that's one thing, like my 201, my 200, all those, I think you should, when you put gas in them, take the air filter out, smack it on the tailgate a few times, knock the sawdust out of it, and it'll prolong the life of the saw. But taking it out and throwing it away and also lubing it. I don't know why this guy's so into lubing things, but you know what I think. I'm not gonna say it though, but he says, tell me that I should put lube on my air filters, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. I don't want to put lube on my air. So sick. That's Chris Liggett, the tree fella. He put out a video called "Climbing a Decayed Walnut Stem" with Paper Wasp. That was last week's, but I included it for this week because I didn't even get a chance to check him out until this week. So that was a good video. It's sometimes it's such a struggle trying to climb up a stem when you have to deal with loose bark. It gets so aggravating because you like want to rip it out of your way, but then you get all the stuff down on you, and it's like then you're like, can I gaff into it? But then when you decide to do that, it breaks, and it's ah. But loose bark, always a headache. But did good, Chris. That was really good. That was a gnarly big old chunk you took out. So then he put out what is the next one? Husband and wife trim up an old growth lilac, and did kind of a sped up, sort of time lapsey kind of video. Really cool, where they trimmed out a lilac and show the whole thing through. So check out Chris. That's Chris Liggett, the tree fella. My main guy, Greg Brown. He's my dude. Greg put out a video this week. He put out 881 Square Ground is the name of the video. He just showed using his 881 with a square ground on it, and my God, that thing threw some fat chips. So you definitely should check out Greg. Yank, do you do any tree work videos or anything? Also, okay, check out Greg. That's Greg Brown. And then Brandon, Rusty's Tree Care, they put out a go try new things for yourself. Um, and so I don't like learning everything from a book. There's no rule that's always gonna translate all the way across the board. So I feel like you need the basics, and then you need to develop knowledge along the way and see what works. And certain things will work and won't work. Certain things will work better for you and then not work for others. But experience is the best thing that I've been able to learn from. Whether it's someone else that I know has a lot of experience and I learned from them, um, or I experience it on my own and I know that it works. You've done some? You should do some more, man. I would definitely check them out if you do. But yeah, Brandon put out a video. Go try new things for yourself. I trust experience, not hearsay. Like, I'm very much like you, Brandon. Everybody thinks that there's a rule for everything, and it's insane to me for someone to say all your teeth need to be the same size or it won't cut. I file teeth to where they're broke off. They're not even there, and it still works. Actually, I think guilty of treason. Just on his last video, it was missing like 4 teeth on it. So the funny part is that guy who left the comment for you, Brandon, was being rude and kind of ignorant, or the guy who made that post is more than likely subscribed to Jake's channel because he's got million something subscribers. That guy will watch that video and be like, "Ooh, I was wrong," because Jake just his saw flies to the cut. And it's missing 4, and it's not a big bar. It's like a 20-inch bar. It's missing 4 of the teeth. So what'll happen is you're never going to get them to say, "Hey, I was wrong." You just have to accept that. But they'll learn along the way. All you can do is put out good information, Brandon, and try to make sure that you're not giving out, bad info, and let people do as they please. But you're always going to have those naysayers, silly knuckleheads. So you mean OSHA doesn't have all the answers? No, no, they don't. Unfortunately, even though they think they do, they definitely don't. So um, that's just the honest to God's truth. Not climbing really though, but had some old horse. What does it say? Horse logging. Oh, that's cool. That's pretty cool, dude. I like that. That would be pretty sick to see. Yeah, that's exactly SMC. It's just the homemade skip tooth. There you go. It was from a Facebook video, and the teeth need to be the same as the video. Buck improved it too, and said, "Oh, only you and this guy must know more." Yeah, yeah. Piss. That's just some knucklehead. He doesn't have. He's not experienced enough, even in the tree world, to have seen enough people to tell him you're wrong. So he still feels like he's kind of right because one day somebody told him that, and he retained that knowledge for so long that he can't erase it from his brain. He just continues to think it's right. That's just any person who thinks that they've figured everything out from the get go is just a knucklehead anyway. So Buckin also put out. Oh, Brandon, thank you for the shout out, brother. That meant more to me than you'll ever realize. I appreciate that so much. So thank you. But go check out Brandon Rusty's Tree Care. They put out good content, and seems to be pretty on the reg too. So he's not someone who posts like one and then he'll wait months, and then seems to be pretty regular with it. So definitely go check his channel out. Subscribe. Buck and Billy Ray put out a video. What's the best way to start a chainsaw? So he puts the video out, titles it this, starts the video, says there isn't a best way, and then proceeds to show the best way, which didn't make any sense. He confused me so much in the video. I think I know what he meant was everyone's best way can be different. For me, I drop start a chainsaw. That's what I've done. That's the way I'll always do it. Um, I want to see how some of these guys start like a top handle. Do you put it between your crotch and start it that way? Or do you only do big saws like that? Do you wear a cup? Because I feel like if I'm going to start a chainsaw there, I want to wear a jock strap and a cup because I'm afraid. And actually, I don't ever want to put a chainsaw that close to my crotch anyway. So, fucking, yeah, he showed drop starting how much easier it can be. It's just being efficient with those movements. And, you know, I don't personally, I agree with him. I don't believe that putting it on the ground, bending over, making my back hurt, putting my foot on it, starting it is better. There may be safer ways, but if you're using the brake, drop starting is not dangerous. If you're strong enough to hold the saw, drop starting is not dangerous. So I don't know. I think that's a preference thing. And Maybe for metal and wood, using his vagina to start the chainsaw works for him. For me, I like the drop start. So, just is what it is. Do you have someone else start your phone? That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Peter Shea also put out a video. It was called Uprooted Tree Crashes Through House and Grill, Looming Just Over Jacuzzi. It was a bit of a music video. Really cool video, though. So go check that out. That's Peter Shea. Shea is spelled Shea. Peter's usually in here. I don't think he made it tonight, but then check out J306. Jay put out a couple different videos. Dropping elms and biggest birch tree eaten by a chipper. Jay puts out really good content. It seems to be on the regular with his stuff too. So go check him out. It's all good content. I like all the guys. Jay also does some muscle car stuff. So, all right. I've had people ask me, and I think it's confusing to some people. Why does the deep notch work? And can it be explained? And I've never seen anybody explain it. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to show you why a deep notch is effective and why it works. So I have two different setups here. As you can see, here's your deep notch. Here's your shallow notch. Both of these have a bit of a backplane to them that's minimal. So here's why this all works. Now, you have a teetering point or a tipping point. So your tipping point is here, where your notch ends up meeting. The bottom and top cuts meet, which is here. Tipping point on this one is here. So what you would do is you would start to make your back cut, and you will get it to tip. So I'm trying to do this backwards, which is tricky. So you'd make your back cut, and then you would start you're making your back cut. You're gonna have to get this one, and then you're gonna have to get some lift for this to go over. The reason for that is your teetering point, the weight to each side. You have the back side and the front side, which is, you can see I've marked it off with blue. Your teetering point goes straight up. So how much weight do we have on this side as opposed to this side? So there's a small amount of weight. This is like a third. And then we have 2/3 of all that weight back here. So as we start to cut, it's not going to go over on its own because there's not enough weight over the center tipping point. Until you get it, you start to manipulate it, and it starts to go up here, and you start to get it to come over a little bit. Then at one point, you will have enough weight over the tipping point that the branch will go on its own, and gravity will take over. So the reason a deep notch works is because you've changed the tipping point and you've introduced a ton of weight here. So you only need to make a very small little back cut, and as long as you don't overcut this back cut, the fact that you have all of this weight fighting this weight, it's going to go this way, and that's why it works. Your tipping point, there's tons of weight here, and as you introduce the cut on the back, you get the tip. It's going to go on its own. Even though there's a little bit of a back lean, you can see that the tipping point goes straight up. It doesn't really go with the lean. But that's how you're going to weigh out. Do I have more weight here? So when I make my cut here, is this weight going to win or is this weight going to win? If you cut too much, probably going to go backwards. Like if you just sever it really, really quick, there's a chance it could go backwards depending on the lean. But 99% of the time, as long as you ease into that cut, you have so much weight over the top and in front of the tipping point that's what makes the deep notch work. I've never seen anybody show the diagram of why it works, but that's it. Like, I mean, that's pretty obvious, right? That makes sense? Yeah, I explained it before. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a concept that a lot of people just don't really understand why it works and why you would use that. But you're able to take a backleaner, and what you're doing is you're displacing weight. Like you're choosing a tipping point, and then because of you've split this log straight up here, there's way more weight on this side than there is here. Gravity takes over, and it's forced to go this way. That's why that works. You just got to make sure that you make your back cut correct, and you leave some hinge, and then you let gravity do its thing. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I don't. I think maybe I didn't catch your video, Brandon, where you explained it, or maybe I did, and maybe that's why I decided to do this. I could subconsciously have seen it, and it made me think of it. So I don't know. You may have inspired that for sure, brother. Husqvarna, no. Poland, kinfolk. Poland. Um, here's your husky. That's the best husky they make. Homelight. We just all start naming chains. Craftsman. Efco. We just start getting into all the old names ones. McCullough. Nick Rodriguez, how are you, brother? How are you? I'm a steel guy, kinfolk. I'm a steel guy. That's just what I am. But I got some Polands up there. There's a Craftsman. There's a Poland. There's all kinds of stuff there. Yeah, guys. I think we've almost been going for 2 hours. I don't want to hold you guys up anymore. I appreciate everybody hit the thumb. You guys, let's see. What do you say? Look it up. They have the world's smallest leaf blower. That's cool, Nick. I'll have to check it out. Yeah, have you seen this chainsaw, Nick? Or yeah. So here's something I want to say to Mr. Metal and Wood. He says, what makes a chainsaw professional is the fact that you can make money with it. I believe these things were designed for grandmas, housewives, people who go out into the garden and they want a little tool to be able to do some cutting that is very evenly weighted and is small. So it's got this cool little battery thing there so we can test it too to make sure you got full battery. I've used this to do tree work. So is that a professional saw, guys? It's made $1. That makes this professional. So by Mr. Metal and Wood standards, I got a rake that's professional too. So a shovel that's professional. My boots are professional. Tires on my truck are professional. Professional gloves. The underwear I wore that day, professional. All right, I'm getting off topic again. Guys, thank you for hanging out. I really appreciate it. Let's do it again next week. And have a good rest of your weekend. And I will catch you guys sooner than you think. I'm pretty sure I'll do another live coming up. So stay safe. I'll catch you next time. Have a good one. And if I don't talk to you before next week, have a safe work week. Bye.